Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ban This, the show where I take a look at a piece of art and make a stupid, ridiculous argument as to why some stupid, ridiculous people would think it'd be a good idea to either outright ban it, or at least make some good choice cuts, or record completely in the dark. There we go. It's better. Today, we are going to be looking at, well, I picked this because I just watched this pretty recently, so it's rather fresh in my mind. Lurther of the Geek. This film has been distributed at one time from Troma. So that might give you an idea of what kind of movie this is. It's not the highest art. Anyway, so what am I going to be offended at? I'm going to go with animal cruelty, which was a big thing as to why films would get censored, like in the 80s in the UK with the whole video nasty thing, you know. Specifically Cannibal Holocaust, which I got sitting back there. I'll be getting to it around sometime. I haven't even watched it yet. I got a bunch of movies back there to watch, so yeah. Like Lurther the Geek. This geek, when they're referring to it, it's specifically biting heads off chickens. Although geek is not exclusively that, as this film implies. It's geekism is just about a person doing any feat which would be considered shocking or gross. So, sword swallowing, walking on glass, the human pincushion, even this could be considered a geek effect. Blockhead, although for emphasis it's supposed to be like a spike and you pretend to hammer it in to get the full effect instead of just sticking it in there without any effort at all. It heightens the effect, makes it look more so yeah, but here it's biting heads off chickens. And I kind of tried to do a little bit of researching. From what I can tell, no real chickens would have been harmed unless they were already dead to begin with, like they were picked up from the butcher shop or something. So, there's two instances of a chicken getting their head bit off. The first one, you don't really see it. The second one looks like, pretty good. Like he pulls it and you see like tendons stretching from the neck into the head that's in his mouth, you know, and it's all bloody. I can tell it's not real, but it looks pretty good. I was surprised. So, and if it is in fact a real chicken, well, that just strengthens my argument. And then there's a scene in a butcher shop where a guy's cutting up a chicken, although it seems like one of the worst butchers ever, because the chicken still has all its feathers on and he's just hacking away at it. Why don't you pluck it first? It'd be a hell of a lot easier than trying to pick each individual piece. Like, plucking the wings, there's the thighs, the breasts. No, he just hacks away at a fully clothed chicken. And that part didn't really look good. That was one of the worst effects, if it even is. I don't know. It could have been a real chicken for all I know, but it looked terrible compared to that last effect that I was talking about, which looked really good. And yeah, this is a trauma film, so it is violent. Although his Luther's modus operandi is mainly, just biting people on the neck. So a lot of it's obscured by his head. You generally just see the after effects. And then there's this one thing where the guy looks normal. The next time we see him, we figured something terrible would have been happening to him to begin with, but we don't see it until afterwards. And his entire body is just like kind of ripped up and it's weird looking. Like, what did you do, man? How did you do that? Clearly, his heart's still beating. So yeah, it does have some violent moments, but I'm still sticking primarily with the animal angle of it. So, yeah, I think that's about it for this one. Now, what do I actually think about this film? Well, it's a lot better than I was expecting. I didn't go into it much, especially going into it knowing it's Trauma, although, in my opinion, Trauma has a much better track record of distributing films rather than producing, because they distribute some absolute gems, but the stuff Lloyd makes is trash. I mean, like, yeah, I know he's the face of Trauma, but I don't care about the Toxic Avenger at all. Nah, just not my cup of tea about like Christmas Evil and Pigs. There's nothing out there. I absolutely love those movies. And this was a lot better than I was expecting. There's some stuff to be desired, but it's just kind of, from my opinion, like, I picked this out because I like the whole geek thing, and I dabble in it myself, as I demonstrated with my glasses earlier. Was under the impression that they would have focused on that aspect a little bit, but they don't. All that stuff. Basically, the film is, we see the very brief moments of the origin of Lurther's snap and descent into insanity as a child, and then the 25 years before that we don't see. It's just kind of a lot of told to us, so we don't really see the whole Lurther actually being a geek, except for one instance later, just to remind us that he's a geek. Oh, and that reminds me, with the head biting scenes, there are moments where he, you know, the two geeks in the film, Lurther and the one that inspires him, we see them sticking the chicken's head in his mouth, and that in itself just might be enough to tip over some very sensitive, people, like, PETA people. Even though sticking a chicken's head in your mouth is not really going to harm. In fact, you might be harming yourself more if you don't hold the chicken's head right, so it goes around trying to peck your tongue out and getting out. So, but otherwise, and even like here, and a lot of people, they call it like a slasher film, but that's not really. This is more of a home invasion movie. The body count is kind of lower. It takes place mostly in one area, and Lurther is just kind of does a lot of taunting. He seems confident of himself that he's going to be able to go and wreak havoc and get away with it. Speaking of Lurther, I'm going to say his name. Edward, yeah. Edward Terry as Lurther. He's definitely helps make the film. His performance, I was surprised. I mean, you can definitely kind of see what he's thinking. His vocalizations is entirely chicken noises, so he can't articulate what he's actually thinking, but you can see it. You know what he's thinking, and his clucking and other noises. It's both simultaneously kind of funny, but also really kind of creepy at the same time. It's a really good balance, in my opinion. So, This is a slower film. It's not like the slasher as this cover and other things would imply. It's slower, but it still delivers the good if you like gore and nudity. It's all there. It's just not as rapid fire as you might expect. And some of the stuff can be kind of redundant since throat biting, and some good gunshots for good measure. And then there's that one guy, which I don't know what happened to him, but it looked like he went through hell in 2 minutes. Better than I thought, but still some things left to be desired. But that's just from my perspective and the reason why I picked this up, and I would have liked that more. But otherwise, better than I thought. It's definitely a curiosity you can check out if you like these kind of films. Like, if you're like a violent home invasion film sounds good, this might be something you'll be interested in. So yeah, well, that's about it for this one. I made it over past 10 minutes, so I will see you in the next one. So take care, and if you have any other ideas for movies for me to check out, let me know in the comments below. And I'm on all these videos are being uploaded onto BitChute if you want a good YouTube alternative. And God bless everyone.